folks. Welcome back from the commercial break. We just had this great conversation with Governor Kevin Stitt, and he talked about how important parents are to revolutionizing the American education system, taking it back from the bureaucrats, putting it back in the hands of parents. Our next guest, she's on the front lines of that very big fight. She's the president and founder of the Parents of Defending Education, Nicole Neily. Nicole, great to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
You have been a warrior on the front lines of this. You've empowered parents. You've made changes from school boards nationwide. A lot of energy after the Virginia election with Glenn Youngkin. 2022, some mixed results. What do we make of them, and where do we need to go next?
Yeah, I mean, let's take a step back and realize most of the parents who are active in this fight right now, this is their first rodeo. 3 years ago, they weren't politically active. And that to me is so fascinating. And so you think about the amount of money, the amount of power that has been entrenched in the system for so long. And it's not just the teachers' unions, it's the secondary school principals, the PTA, the National School Board Association, like you saw, all these entities that we thought were on our side, that had our children's best interests at heart, obviously didn't. And so parents are trying to make that up right now. And I feel like the past 18 months has really been, the scales have fallen from people's eyes. They're getting smart about issues, about activism, about how to engage in these issues. And so the fact that, at the local level, actually, there was a tremendous amount of turnover. Lots of school boards flipping, lots of first-time candidates running and winning. School boards, state school boards flipping in Texas.
Right.
In South Carolina, a new great state superintendent of education, Ellen Weaver. And so I think there's a lot of cause for enthusiasm at the local level. And again, our parents are continuing to get smarter, become a little bit more battle-hardened. And, the nice thing is they're not going away. I think you and I saw the Tea Party fizzle out, and I have full confidence that this parent movement is not fizzling out, because you think about kitchen table issues. I sit across from my children every single night at the kitchen table, and I see them withering on the vine in their school, and I think, you know what? This is not going to happen. I'm not going to let this happen.
No greater motivation than that to get in the fight. Actually, a lot of the elections occurred in the spring and summer, too, and so when you take the tally for all of 2022, a lot of victories on this front, probably more than in any recent memory that I can think of. Though there's a mindset, I just saw it again with Congressman Eric Swalwell in the last few days saying, if you let parents have a say in education, it's like letting the patient do his own surgery. Not true at all, but how do you stamp that mindset up? Because it's clearly ingrained in a lot of policymakers and certainly in the school bureaucrats.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we think last year with Terry McAuliffe saying parents don't have a role.
Yeah.
A few months ago, the Michigan Democrat Party had that Facebook post up that they had to take down when they said the role of public education is to prepare children to function in society. Who's defining what that is? It's you guys, where you think we see parents being called birthing people, right? It's this general shift away. And then also setting families up in an adversarial relationship against the schools as well as against their children. I mean, one thing we see, particularly in the gender space, is the use of the term safety. Families are not safe. They're not supportive. My children would never, ever think that I was not loving and supportive of them unless someone put that idea in their head. They are intentionally trying to destroy the relationship between parents and children because they think they know better than we do.
You see it in some of the trainings that they've given the teachers out of Missouri and others. There's clearly these little subtle messages designed to drive a wedge between child and parent. It's really remarkable. A lot of victories are there. Critical race series on the front lines, a lot of big victories there. Transgenderism currently being fought out. 2023, 2024, where does this conversation and policy debate go next?
Yeah, last year through our tip line, almost 100% of what we got in was about race. This year, probably 75% is about gender. Title IX, obviously a lot of this is being driven by the federal government. Sure. Where we see things moving and where we hear questions from parents right now are about surveys and data mining of children, getting inside kids' heads. So using kind of this mental health crisis as a reason for more funding. Right? The same people that made our children basket cases by keeping schools shut for 18 months
isn't that ironic?
Are the same ones who say, give us more money, we'll fix the problem. You know what, I don't really trust you guys and I don't want you in there. And again, while we're dumping all this money into mental health intervention, who's doing that? It's the counselors. Well, is it a licensed mental health counselor or is it the college counselor that says, are you gonna go to Illinois or Illinois State? These are not trained professionals. And we also see schools that are intentionally withholding information from parents, saying we're going to maintain 2 separate sets of records so your family doesn't know if you're a different gender at home. And so that worries a lot of our parents. What's happening to that information? How will it be used against us in the future? And again, if you're trying to fix my child's mental health, how on earth is telling my child you can be one thing at home and one thing at school? That's how you end up with a mental health issue.
You do. Yes, it's the ultimate crisis. Yeah, living in 2 worlds. The courts have been a strong place of victory, obviously school board elections. What will a new Congress potentially lend to this effort to try to balance things back in parents' favor?
Yeah, I think, at the federal level, talking to people up on the Hill, I think they're enthused about some investigations as to, why parents are called domestic terrorists, for example. As well as, let's put forward an agenda that actually empowers parents to know what is going on in their children's education, to be involved. Things like that really should not be partisan. The fact that that has become a partisan issue is mind-boggling. We know that children do better when parents are involved in their kids' lives, period. If my children are learning about Germany, I'll make schnitzel for dinner. We'll watch a movie together, right? We want to be supportive. We want to be engaged.
Extend that learning, yeah.
Yeah, and not be held at arm's length, not be talked down to or dismissed. Last year I would get emails from my kids' school once a week. They'd say, oh, we talked about the 60s this week. Well, what part of the 60s? Did you do the Beatles or the Weather Underground? Right. I need more information.
Yeah, exactly.
I deserve more information.
Yeah. And they treat it like a state secret. It's crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. File a public records request. How dare you do that to us? Yeah.
Well, Nicole, you have won so many battles. You're empowering parents, you're training parents. You can see this massive grassroots army. It's an amazing thing to watch. Being here at the Sentinel program, you get the sense that the grassroots is where the action really is, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
yeah.
Great honor to have you on the show today. Congratulations on all you achieved. We're going to be watching closely in 2023.
Perfect.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages.